afternoon. It's 2:44 p.m. on October 11, 2023. How are you doing? I just want to remind you of something that happened. On April 4th of 2023, right here in Dallas, Texas, a man was murdered. The hit was premeditated. April 4th, 2023 happens to be the anniversary of the murder of my grandfather, Chalmers Andre Lovejoy. It wasn't in Texas at the time. It was the day after I was supposed to attend a hearing to appeal my kidnapping, but my kidnappers refused to release me until after the time when the court was out of session. They kept me on site until the court closed, so I couldn't attend that day. Now, meanwhile, I was supposed to be somewhere else that day. I already had a meeting to speak with the community and present to them a plan that was a part of a community mobilization strategy that also attended to matters pertaining to potential business and corporation in order for us to be able to exercise our constitutional rights in the state of Texas. But I was kidnapped. My kidnappers refused to release me until after the time when the court was closed that day. The next day, my grandfather was murdered. That was in 2017, April 4th, 2023. I was alerted within 48 hours of the event. Somebody was out to murder me. I came to a library right up the street here. It's a new library that's only open since the time I've been in Dallas. The land atop which it sits used to be very different. I've watched the construction of the entire library. It's different than any other library in the city because if you go there, you're not allowed to download your own work. That day, I was banned from the library for saying the word fuck. Why? Because I was recording real time what turned out to be a murder here in Dallas. Now, I understood it was an anti-Semitic hate crime, but the problem is there were so many anti-Semitic hate crimes that had already occurred, nobody really cared because their whole intention was to flip it for a dead Christian. See, you can't vest a good Christian stock after you've murdered the Jews until it converts to a dead Christian. They got a good dead Christian that day. The evidence for the hit was actually in the federal fucking register for that day. Every single person at that library bitching about me saying the word fuck was a witness. I told them to make an affidavit, but instead they banned me from the library. And they banned me from the library downtown. And they banned me from still a third library, a completely contrived, racist justifications that weren't just anti-Semitic hate crimes, by the way, but also anti-Indigenous hate crimes. The person who got murdered turned out to be a man. It was identified in the press as an African-American man who was also a Christian minister. Later information on him identified him as someone who was LGBTQ friendly and who had a nonprofit as part of his ministry. Today is the 60th day on when your good Christian minerals should have paid, right? And yet nothing that man was murdered for actually ended up getting paid. What did you do with them? It was very important you murder a very attractive, specific physiotype of African-American man who was also identified as a Christian minister that was also queer-friendly, who also had and operated a nonprofit organization. And yet, even the things that man's ministry would have been about, where did it go? Who got paid instead? You justified murdering him because you were owed Christian minerals in the form of a very specific demographic you've been waiting for years. Nothing about that man's murder actually paid for what it was justified for. You justified murdering him because presumably other people would get what they needed. Everybody was supposed to keep quiet about it. Shh! Keep quiet. We need to get paid. And it was very important that all those murdered Jews before and other people like my grandfather, right? Because, why? It wasn't just African American. You wanted that good Scottish Rite stuff, right? You wanted it Scottish. You know, the red hairs? At a specific kind, because if you add a little Mason into the mix, then you could talk about your, well, it's not animal husbanding. That's the fucking problem, right? Nothing you said justified his murder got fucking paid for. Nothing. Where'd it go? See, I heard you. I see what you look like, right? When you're getting paid. I'm sorry, the people who were supposed to get paid on that man's murder don't look like you, honey. Today's the 60th day, and you guys did not deliver. See, not only did you launder murdered Jews to get your Christian resurrection, but you defrauded even your fucking Christians. What the fuck do you think you got now? You don't have any fucking insurance, guys.